there are unlimited number of reasons why your partner might be sexually rejecting you, or why sexual rejection happens in a relationship, right? You're tired and exhausted, you have a bladder infection, you're not enjoying the sex you're having, there's resentment and tension built up, you're, frustrated with one another. Like, it's just unlimited. When you commit to doing long-term love together, life is going to happen, and therefore rejection is going to happen. But today I want to talk about like what happens when that becomes the norm, or when that happens for a long period of time, where then you create unhealthy relationship patterns. How do you undo them? How do you navigate this? What kind of damage is this really doing inside of the relationship? So stick around for this, and at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you a really self-honoring tool that you can say no, but also never reject or be rejected ever again. My name is Janelle Fraser. I'm a relationship coach. I specialize in intimacy and communication, and I'm really happy you're here. So one thing that I would love for you to do before we dive in is give this video a thumbs up. If you like this video, if you like this topic, I'll do more. And please subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every single week. I think you're gonna like them. If you do want to dive deeper with your partner, if you do want to have skills and practices and tools and things to enhance your communication and change your intimacy and have better sex, then definitely go and take action on my free training, Grow Together and Not Apart. And essentially you're going to get some really tangible things to start the conversation and start the improvements in your relationship that you really crave. So I want to talk about the person being rejected first, because of course that is such a painful position to be in. And what I often see is that if you're always being the person being rejected, you eventually start to create stories about what that means about you, about your body, about your partner's affection for you or love for you. And it can really be a painful place to be. Also, having that need to be touched physically and interacted with and connect is very real. And so if you're always being rejected, I often see a high level of starvation, which can lead to depression, which can lead to anger, which can lead to, not really wanting to treat your partner with love and respect. And so I see that as a pattern that can easily get built up over time when we're continually rejecting our partner. So if you are in the weight of just feeling of what it feels like to be rejected and how much that sucks and how painful it is, and you want a little bit of support around that, I'll link to a video that I did around feeling rejected that I think will help you. So also, if you're always the one initiating and therefore getting rejected, it's vulnerable. It is such a vulnerable place to be in. And what I never recognized about my partner is how vulnerable it was and how much of a commitment he had to our relationship to show up for me time and time again, even when I was frustrated and annoyed with him and rejected him. It's like, what a commitment he had to our relationship and us connecting. And I couldn't see it at the time because I was starving in my own right in our relationship. And I just didn't see that he was wanting to connect. All I felt like is all he wanted was sex. So it is a vulnerable place to be in, but it's also a significant commitment to the relationship for your partner to keep showing up again and again, even though they're getting rejected. You will start to notice that sexual rejection spills over into the relationship, because over time, if your partner is sexually starved, if they're feeling shut down, if they're not feeling love and connection or that physical touch, they may kind of start to care less about making sure that you feel loved and appreciated, or they may do it just to get something. And then you sort of create this relationship dynamic that's like tit for tat, like I'll do this in a hope that I'm going to get this, but then you reject me anyways, and then I'm frustrated because I did all that stuff for you only to get that love. It can become a really vicious cycle in the relationship, and it does spill over, and you're probably already seeing it spill over into other areas of the relationship. So what I often see is that eventually people will stop asking because it becomes too painful to keep getting rejected. And so when they do stop asking, a couple of things can happen. That can be sort of the end or a huge sort of standstill in your intimacy, in your connection, as well as sometimes the tables can turn where it's like you're wondering why they're not initiating anymore, and like, oh, am I not attractive to you? Do you not think I'm attractive? Or the partner who was always rejecting starts initiating, but then that partner has so much built up resentment for all the times they were rejected that they're just like, nope. Like, it becomes, again, this sort of battle back and forth. So oftentimes when we do reject, we give these bullshit reasons and excuses as to why, or we give none. We just avoid the situation altogether. And so I think it's really important to like be clear in our communication with our partner around like what would make my no into a yes. In the future, what can your partner do to make sex more enjoyable for you, or to release the resentment, or to make you feel more loved and appreciated, or to help you enjoy the experience, or like, do we need new skills or tools, or like what's really going on? I think we often just sort of like reject or don't give a reason and avoid, and that doesn't help the relationship. It doesn't help us to have more connection and more intimacy at any point. And so I think it's really important to not just give these sort of not true or full truth answers. And you may not even know yourself if you're the one rejecting. So if you are the one rejecting, I encourage you to dig into your own heart and mind and body. Like, what is the real reason? Like, or what do I need to give myself? Not just what does my partner need to do. I think we put a lot of the focus on our partners. Like, what does our partner need to do so they're not rejected, or so I don't reject them? If you're the one rejecting, what is it that you need to do? How do you need to access your turn on and your desire? And you may want to watch my video around getting in the mood and even when you're tired, a recent video that I did. So I'll link that as well below. So sexual avoidance and rejection, like, it doesn't happen for the reasons you think it does as well. So if you're being the one rejected and you're creating all these stories about why for your partner, you may be sending yourself down a really unhealthy and unvaluable rabbit hole. So I'll also link the video around why sexual avoidance actually happens, because I think you need to get clear and understand that the stories that you're making up probably aren't true and are also creating more damage. Because at the end of the day, the stories that you make up in your mind about why your partner is rejecting you then influence how you treat your partner after, what you do for them out of the bedroom, how you communicate, how you interact with them intimately in life. And so then that is drastically going to affect how your partner, if your partner says yes or no, is open for sex next time. So you can see that we can create these sort of vicious cycles. So it's really important for you to catch the stories you're making up as well around why your partner isn't interested, and also check them with your partner. And believe them when they're telling you. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, they just don't love me, or they're cheating on me. It's like, we have these sort of like self-fulfilling prophecies, these beliefs about ourselves that we are like looking for proof for in our relationship. And sometimes then we can't actually hear the truth of why our partner isn't open for sex or intimacy or is rejecting you. You're not hearing the truth. You're not hearing the needs of your partner, and therefore you can never really solve the problem. It's because you're so caught up in the stories that you're making this mean about yourself. And the situation is like pushing your insecurity buttons that you haven't healed and dealt with, and therefore it's like you're blind and deaf to the reality of what your partner actually needs and wants from you. So just being really cautious on the stories that you're making up. Now, if you're the person who is rejecting, there's some things that you also really need to consider, because if sometimes, I just want to make sure I say this clearly. Oh, yes. Maybe you're not comfortable initiating. Maybe you don't have experience initiating. So when the time comes, when you do want intimacy, when you do want connection from your partner, and you do want them to initiate, you may have to apologize. And so what I want to say is, it's not about apologizing for honoring that when you don't want to have sex. If you don't want to have sex, then that's like, you need to honor what is true for your body. But oftentimes I like to say that it's the apology for not communicating what you actually needed. Oftentimes we're not just saying no and honoring our body. We're actually like disconnecting from our partner, and we're shutting them out of what's really going on for us. We're not giving them the tools to win or help or to feel empowered. We're just like disconnecting from them in our rejection. And so the apology, I think, can often come from a place of, I'm sorry for not giving you the tools to actually support me. I'm sorry for not being truthful with you about what I actually needed, not being brave enough, for not knowing what my body needed and sharing it with you, for just avoiding the situation, for not clarifying your stories, for not checking in on how that has made you feel. And kind of mixed in with that, sometimes then you need to eventually give your partner permission to initiate sex. Because if you got to the point where your partner just kind of like just doesn't anymore, or really resist doing it, I know I came to a point in my relationship where I actually had to give my partner permission and say like, it's okay now. Once I discovered what turned me on, and I'll link to the In the Mood Intimacy Guide here below to help you learn to get in the mood and enjoy sex. Once I went through that process for myself and was able to tap into that, then I had to give my partner the permission to like, it's okay to initiate. Like I won't have sex just to get it done anymore, and I won't reject you for no reason. Like I'll give you a reason, or I know how and what works for my body to want to engage in intimacy with you. So it's like I had to go through that sort of apology and permission process as well. So here's the thing, is I think a really good practice that I really want you to hear is how to not get rejected and how to not reject. So my rule of thumb is we want to honor ourselves. We want to, when it's a no, it's a no. However, in an intimate relationship, oftentimes sex is a desire for connection and a desire for closeness. And so instead of it just being a no, what if it was a not right now? What if it was a reschedule? Because if you get honest about what are the reasons why I'm not in the mood right now, when I would reject sex, it was because I felt like gross and disgusting, meaning maybe it was a reschedule till later in the night because I needed some time to like, I need you to set the mood and I need me to like feel good in my body, so I need to go like clean myself up. Or maybe it's like a let's reschedule like to Thursday when we have more time because I just need massage, or I need some build up and I need some time to get into it. And we just don't have that right now. Maybe it's the like, I started my period and like I'm like cramping, like I want to reschedule. Or maybe it's a shift in what you're initiating for. It's I'm not feeling like penetration in the moment if that's where you want this to go. But why don't we, do an exchange of massages, and that might feel really good, and we can sort of reevaluate at that point. So I find instead of just it being a no, it could be a reschedule, it could be a change of, or a negotiation of like, let's still connect and let's still touch, but let's negotiate what we're both open and desiring. Because oftentimes when people say I'm not interested, I'm not open for sex, I'm not in the mood, that's actually not true. I've got lots of videos on that. They are in the mood for connection and intimacy and love, but they just might not be in the mood for something that they think they have to do that their body isn't ready for, like jumping right into penetration or getting all groped or intense kissing, right? They may be in the mood for other forms of intimacy, but you guys haven't established that range of intimacy in your relationship. So again, download the intimacy guide that I'll post below, as well as do the free training for couples, because I'm going to actually talk in that about the range of intimacy that you can experience, so that when you're saying, no, I'm not in the mood or I'm not interested, you can actually give your partner other options that you are open and in the mood for to still connect. So please comment below with a reschedule if you are open to playing with the stop rejecting, but what if we rescheduled or renegotiated? So put reschedule in the comments if you are open to playing around with this. Please give this video a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe, stick around. I've got more videos coming to you every single week. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. Make it a great day.